of some of the guardrails that were set in yesterday's meeting, if we have a sense of what progress can be made with the U.S.-Russia relationship?
Gosh, Aaron, you referred to that meeting yesterday. It feels like it was a week ago already. But the White House feeling confident that they did what they accomplished or what they hoped to accomplish, which was to make very clear to President Putin some of the behavior that the U.S. will not accept and to get back to at least a relationship, if not of allies, which is not really in the cards, at least one where the two countries are talking to each other, where there's a more normal dialogue than the years of the Obama administration where relations were really plummeting, the years of the Trump administration where you had this combo love fest, sanctions kind of up and down relationship. So they feel like they got onto a better track with the two countries now set to return ambassadors to each other's countries. And in just the last few minutes, we heard from Jake Sullivan, the White House National Security Advisor, who said a big takeaway that they had from this trip was the cyber issue, that they felt this was the time when they were really able to put a spotlight on that issue, particularly as it comes to the cyber attacks that they see emanating from Russia, and to make clear that the U.S. is going to be much more aggressive about countering those types of attacks in the future, and that if such attacks do emanate from Russia, that they can expect to see countermeasures from the U.S. as well.
So, Josh, obviously the last week has really been focused on foreign policy issues. The president, though, does face some challenges on his domestic agenda, which we know is ambitious as he gets back to work now. Where does his focus turn at this point domestically?
Yeah, out of the frying pan into the fire. The president has a really long list waiting for him here in Washington, including first and foremost that infrastructure package where he's doing a really delicate dance. He's trying to get some type of an agreement with this bipartisan group of senators who have been working on a framework somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 billion to do infrastructure. At the same time, he and Chuck Schumer are looking towards a second reconciliation bill that would bypass Republicans altogether, get some of those other priorities such as climate change and others, but he's at risk of losing liberal Democrats on the left if he doesn't go far enough. He's at risk of losing them toward the middle, folks like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, if he goes too far to the left. And so the president really trying to find a balance that will accomplish his domestic goals without alienating the votes that he's going to need to get them done. And all of that coming with a very quick timeline as the president gets closer to the midterm elections.
All right, Josh Lederman buttoning up for us right here on a landscaping day at the White House. Josh, thank you.
You got it.
Well, as we mentioned a bit earlier, we expect to hear from President Biden shortly. He's set to sign the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law this afternoon. That's after the House passed the bill last night with overwhelming support.
On this vote, the yeas are 415 and the nays are 14. The bill is passed.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Leanne Caldwell joins us now. Leanne, can you sort of walk us through what this new law means and how people there on the Hill are reacting to it?
Hey, Aaron. So there are 49 states in the District of Columbia who already commemorate Juneteenth, of course, the commemoration of the end of slavery. And but finally, the federal government has stepped up and they have decided to make it a federal holiday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi talked about it at her press conference earlier today. Let's listen to how she put it.
This is an important step for America as we ensure that one of the most momentous events in our history finally takes its official place of honor in our nation. We all remain committed to the fight to end racism and advance justice, which continues with a renewed urgency.
And the legislation moved at record pace for Capitol Hill. The Senate passed it unanimously 2 days ago. Last night, the House of Representatives passed it. 14 Republicans voted against it, but it was an overwhelming support for the legislation. And it heads to the president's desk today, Aaron.
And we know he is going to sign it and make some comments too today. Leanne, how soon might we see this what will be a new law enacted, and what will that look like?
Yeah, well, after the president signs it, federal workers are going to get a holiday, a day off work tomorrow. The president's chief of staff, Ron Klain, tweeted that this is a priority for the president. He's going to sign it just in time for the actual date of June 19th, and that federal workers will be able to celebrate without heading to work on Friday. Aaron.
All right, Leanne Caldwell for us on Capitol Hill today. Leanne, thank you. A landmark arrest in the fight against cyber criminals, where the suspects were rounded up and the target